What if the key to your future, the real you, the potential you, was buried beneath layers of fear, comfort, and expectations? What if the person you're meant to become is quietly screaming behind the noise of daily life, aching to be let out, but all they need is a spark? Elon Musk, love him or hate him, is that spark for many. Not because he's a billionaire, not because he's on magazine covers or sending rockets into the sky, but because he's one of the few people alive who seems to live without a ceiling. That's not a personality trait. That's a philosophy. And if you're listening right now, it might just change your life. You get it? Potential is not this motivational fluff buzzword. It's violent. It's upset. It's the internal feeling of you that recognizes you're not doing as much as you can and holds a grudge against excuses. It's the barbarian in you that won't accept. And Elon Musk, for all his scandals, is that barbarian aspect of potential. He once said, "I believe it's possible for an ordinary person to be an extraordinary one. Not to wish, not to wait, but to choose." That doesn't sound simple. And it isn't. Because becoming extraordinary is choosing pain, choosing rejection, choosing the road with no handrails, no safety net, and no standing ovations. When Musk staked everything he owned, his last $20 million split between SpaceX and Tesla, he wasn't seeking success. He was seeking truth. His truth. Something he so believed in that he'd lose everything before he'd compromise it. And that's when this gets personal. Ask yourself, what do I believe so strongly? Would I give up comfort for it? Would I be alone for it? Most people never ask themselves that question. Not quite. They have nondescript lives of convenience, hoping somehow their dreams will leave room for their vices. But that is not the way this works. That is not the way one becomes great. Musk is brutal to the world and to himself. He doesn't strive for balance in the traditional sense. He once instructed us, you should take the approach that you're wrong. Your goal is to be less wrong. That is not ego. That is stoicism. That is humility in the presence of your blind spots and annihilating them without mercy. We are taught to be right. We are rewarded for being right. But Musk's advice: be wrong. Frequently. Loudly. And then adapt. That is the way rockets are built. That is the way humans are built. But wait a minute. This isn't about being Elon Musk. This is about being you. The you that does not care to be laughed at. The you that builds rather than tearing down. The you that knows that failure is not deadly but regret is. Elon's story is not one of perfection, it's one of perseverance. He was ridiculed out of the aerospace industry. Informed his cars were toys. Mocked for wanting to colonize Mars. People still taunt today. But he doesn't give up. Not because he enjoys it, but because he must. Purpose is heavy. And once you find yours, it will carry you through the depths of hell and back with a smile. But come on. Elon Musk works insane hours. He sacrifices comfort, sleep, even relationships. So how does the balance that tip? Here's the secret: balance is not symmetry. It's not 50-50, it's work and life. It's harmony between your actions and your values. You don't need to work 120 hours a week like Musk. But you do need to ask yourself, am I aligned? Are today's actions building the individual I desire to be tomorrow? If not, why not? What am I waiting for? Who am I serving by staying small? These are difficult questions. That's the reason that so few individuals ever ask them. But if you are willing to tap your potential, if you are willing to live without ceilings, you must. Musk doesn't know everything. He's human. He's imperfect. He's polarizing. But he's awake. And that's the goal. He awakens to a dilemma to resolve. A mountain to climb. An inquiry deserving of investigation into the unknown. Do you? Let's talk about fear for a moment. Musk once said failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. Let that just sit in your head for a moment. Most of us build our lives to avoid failure. He builds his companies to attract it. Why? Because failure is not the enemy, comfort is. Comfort reminds you that the world perceives you as good enough. Comfort advises, don't bother. What if it doesn't work? But potential yells, what if it does? This is where practice and philosophy meet. The Stoics exercise dying every day figuratively. To let go of ego. To dispel fear. To face worst-case scenarios so that you may walk through life without fear. That is what Musk does in a neat, messy, crazy way. He steers toward the things that break other people. And if you want to grow, really grow, you must do the same. Not all at once. Not in an explosion of drama, but bite by bite, question by question, until you are someone who risks again. You don't have to start a rocket business, but you do have to ask, what's my North Star? What truth would I sacrifice for? What part of myself did I bury for safety's sake? And maybe it's time to dig it up. Maybe you don't need another self-help book. Maybe you just need to stop lying to yourself. Because the truth is, you already do. You already know what sparks you. You already know what fears you when you're in bed at night scrolling, numbing, waiting. And if you don't do something with what you know, if you just wait for one day, you'll wake up one morning to discover your potential has been your prison. Because you never opened the door. That door is built out of pain, but it leads to something wild and lovely and free. So stop saying I'm not like Elon Musk. Of course you're not. You're you. And that is the entire point. Start where you are. Start with your own brutal honesty. Expect more from yourself. Make something, break it, fix it, and do it again. Your future is not waiting. It's begging. And if any of this struck a chord with you, if something inside your gut changed, don't let it go. You're not here to cruise through life. You're here to incinerate it. Not for recognition, not for accolades, but for truth. Your truth. Because someone somewhere is waiting to see what happens when you stop keeping it in. So here's your invitation. Take one savage step forward today. Comment below with what you're chasing, or what's chasing you. Let's talk about it. Let's get real. The world doesn't need another echo. It needs your voice. It needs your fight. And most of all, it needs your potential. Here's the hard truth no one tells you: unlocking your potential isn't about more. It's about less. Less pretending, less pleasing, less waiting for permission. It's subtraction, not addition. You take away the noise, the lies, the plastic smile, and what you have left is unfiltered, raw potential. The kind that Elon Musk accesses every time he walks into a mess. The kind that can change lives if you allow it. You know, most folks think their issue is lack of motivation. It's not. Your issue is clarity. You don't need more quotes, more coffee, or one more productivity hack. You have to pick what matters to you so desperately that everything else is ambient noise. That's what Musk did. He made a decision: humanity's survival is greater than comfort. Space matters. Energy matters. Artificial intelligence matters. Not just because they're interesting, but because they set the context for all the rest. So he abandoned the boats. No plan B. No fallback. Just a mission and the madness to do it. And that madness, it's not about putting in more hours. It's about thinking more. We're existing in a culture of superficial scrolling. Instant answers. Fast dopamine. But Musk doesn't. He thinks first principles. He takes everything back to the bare essentials, then he builds from there. Not what's the coolest electric car company to copy, but what would the world look like if we began from scratch. That's not merely innovation. That's freedom in your brain. And you can have it too. Now, you just have to get out of the habit of thinking like a follower. Here's one thing more that Elon teaches us, not with words but with how he lives. Curiosity is not an amusement. It is a weapon. He asks questions about everything, assumes nothing. He plays with physics as a joke, codes when he's bored. Not because he's a superhuman or something, but because he never lost interest. Most people lose their spark along the way. They trade wonder for routine, questions for opinions, playfulness for professionalism. But here's the thing. Curiosity is your fuel. It's what makes you scary. It's what lets you see things that other people don't. So when did you ever let yourself into something weird, something nutty, something no one else told you to? When did you ever pursue a question so far it changed the way you see the world? That's what it requires. Depth, play, compulsion, quiet. Let them swell together and you've got the recipe for a different kind of human. And let's not ignore the weight of this. Unlocking your potential is lonely. You will outgrow people. You will lose approval. You will scare yourself. And that's okay. Musk said being an entrepreneur is like eating glass and staring into the abyss. It sounds dramatic, but is right. You build things in the dark before anyone claps. You believe when others mock. You keep going when you're the joke. But this is not about martyrdom. This is about love. You only endure that kind of pain if you love the thing more than you do the cost. So what do you love so much? What notion, what venture, what mission blazes in you like that? Don't reply nothing. Search deeper. Maybe it's music, or wellness, or tales, or constructing, or repairing problems yet to be fixed. Your potential is connected to what you care about most deeply, even if the world deems it absurd. Particularly if the world deems it absurd. Elon Musk didn't make it as Elon Musk by being trendy. He made it who he is by taking a risk on what he cared about even when the chances were ridiculous. And perhaps that is the true definition of potential. The audacity to act on what you know before the world does. Consider that. Every single great individual you've ever looked up to, every revolutionist, artist, constructor, scientist, was at a point where they were by themselves with only belief. That's when your life actually begins. In the silence. In the leap. But come on. There will be uncertainty. There will be days when nothing whatsoever works. You'll doubt your own sanity. You'll want to quit. And on some days you will. But this is what divides the extraordinary from everyone else. They come back. They rise again, not that they fear, but their why is too deafening to be quiet. They have known the cliff and it frightens, but they prefer to crash seeking truth and remain confined in safety. That's the feral side. Not ego, not anger, but that inner refusal to give up. And yes, sometimes that ferocity must be tempered. Musk pushes himself to the brink. It is not always smart, but you do not have to replicate his excesses. You can learn the lesson without the burnout. The lesson is this: growth takes tension, evolution takes discomfort. No story worth telling that doesn't include struggle. You don't have to suffer for nothing, but you do have to stretch. And that stretch, that's where you meet the real you. The version of you who isn't too afraid to start the business, or move to that city, or make the art, or say the thing you've been holding back. That version is already inside you. You're just waiting for permission. So here it is. You are allowed to become legendary. Not because it's easy, not because you're special, but because you've decided. And decision is everything. Musk decided to go to Mars. People laughed. Now they watch rockets land themselves. He decided to make electric cars cool. Now the industry chases him. He decided to consider AI and sun and tunnels and chips in heads. Bonkers? Maybe. But that's how the future arrives, disguised as madness. So what future are you introducing? What harebrained idea sits in your journal, your mind, your heart? Don't wait for perfection. Don't wait for applause. Just start. And let the untamed part of you, the part that's exhausted from pretending, lead the way. Because at the end of the day, tapping into your potential has nothing to do with becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you've always been. Before the fear, before the noise, before the world told you to turn down the light. Your job now is simple. Flip the light back on. And if this message made you feel something, if you felt that little spark in your chest, that twinge that says this is me, then don't let it fizzle out. Do something with it. Write it down. Start the thing. Call the person. Write your story in the comments. Let's make this more than a video. Let's make it a movement. Because the future is not written yet. And someone out there, maybe thousands, are waiting to see what happens when you stop waiting. Let them see. Let them feel it. And most of all, let yourself rise. Your potential isn't coming. It's already here. Unlock it.